All right, so I think it's up and running. And then, all right, now I'm just got to pull up to the TNR real quick, get in the TNR 170 here, and get all logged in. Alrighty, so now that we're in TNR 170 for everyone, we can start our presentation, our TWS meeting. So now I'm gonna thank you all for coming. It's great to see you all again, but I'm now gonna jump into my screen, share my screen here. Oh, which one is it? And then I think here. Booyah. Alrighty. So like I said, thanks to everyone for coming on back for TWS virtual round 2. Hopefully we'll see you all again next week, but this is what we're going to be doing every Tuesday now at 5. We won't be accepting dues anymore though, so dues are no more, but that's okay. You can always join next semester, so definitely do that if you're here next year. And then Connor for the conservation topic. Connor, you out there?
I'm on mute. Okay. I had a great, I was going so good. So the conservation topic is about Pablo Escobar and his cocaine hippos. A new study says that descendants of those hippos may be fulfilling the ecosystem roles of long extinct wildlife. These hippos imported for Pablo Escobar's private zoo escaped and now have numbers around 80. Previous studies have shown that these hippos have changed oxygen levels, water quality, and chemical makeup, and could make them the largest invasive species on the planet. However, a new study indicates that some of these changes may be helping restore the local ecosystem to its ancient conditions of the late Pleistocene, some 16,000 to 12,000 years ago. These hippos share a similar diet and body size to an extinct giant llama. While this isn't a perfect fit, they do restore some of the ancient ecosystems. And then on the slideshow, you can see another example of this is wild boars. A study done in Tennessee indicated that trees grow faster in areas that wild boars root in. And this could be ties back to an ancient peccary that lived in Tennessee during the Pleistocene.
Next slide.
Yeah. So instead of quiz bowl, I've been doing fun facts. So this week's fun fact is that there are 2 extant species of hippos. The more common of the 2, the hippopotamus, aka Hippopotamus amphibius, or common river hippopotamus, and then the less common of the 2, the pygmy hippopotamus. I practice the scientific name, but I might butcher it. Colopterus liberianus. Yeah. This endangered hippopotamus once swam in rivers across the West African rainforest, but is now constricted to the Ivory Coast of Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea. And now I have a video, so next slide, of Penelope, the sassy baby pygmy hippopotamus from the Toronto Zoo. We don't have to watch all of it, but it's pretty good stuff. Not sure if the babies do this behavior in the wild, or this might just be a zoo thing. But little Penelope, the pygmy hippopotamus, being sassy at the Toronto Zoo, everyone.
Cool. Thanks, Connor. All right, so now I just wanted to go over a little bit about, since we had our first like trial run last week with the meeting, I just want to go over some new things we're gonna try. So we did this whole like waiting room thing this time. So this is like a recommendation from the university now. But so we did a waiting room, and Lizzie's gonna be moderating, like allowing people in through there. So and that'll be each week now, and that's how she'll take attendance. Just a little heads up there. Then also Connor's going to be moderating for questions. Like if you have a question during the meeting, like you can raise your hand in the little chat function. So I didn't have it when I made these screenshots, but like right down here in your manage participants, you'll have like a little raise hand button. You can click that and then they'll pop up if you want. So you can do it that way, or else you can send Connor a message or just post your question into the chat function. So you can have this chat box open and just type up like, hey, I have a question, or just actually ask your question in the chat, and then Connor or another one or someone who actually knows the answers will just respond to you. So definitely utilize those two functions. And then I also want to point out, like in this little up arrow, you can select a different recipient, so you can send messages privately. So if you want to like chat with your friends during the meeting, you can always like find them on here too. So like that's another option for just kind of socializing during our meetings now. So I just kind of wanted to go over that with everyone, just as a little heads up about that. And like I said, if you have any questions, you can always ask like during the meeting too, like after we're done talking, that's totally fine. Just talk away. But if you want to do it like more privately, you can like send a message or just like raise your hand too, and Connor can answer the questions or whoever's talking. But yeah. So does anyone have any questions on that? We're just giving this whole moderator shot, moderator and like waiting room like a shot here to see if it like helps the meeting a little bit. But all right. And then I also want to give a reminder that we have elections coming up on April 21st, so mark your calendars. So that's in 2 weeks now. And then April 17th, so next week, Friday, is going to be when applications are due. So what we'll do is we'll take all the applications on that night, and then on Saturday, I'll post them all or send them out to everyone, and everyone will be able to get a chance to read through them, like some of the answers that the candidates have. So you can kind of come to the election a little bit informed about who's running for what or whatever. So yeah, so definitely come on April 21st. And if you're interested in being an officer, to like definitely get those applications in. It's a super fun time. I have a great time every Monday and Tuesday running these meetings, and then also getting to meet up with the officers every Monday. So I would definitely do it. I think it's a really great opportunity and super fun. And then lastly, if you're kind of curious about running for a position, but you don't really know that much about it, I'd recommend watching our recording of our meeting last week where we all talked about our positions. So that's kind of one of the cool new things we can do now with virtual stuff is we can like record all of our meetings, and then we have them posted on our website. So you can go on our website now and kind of listen to the meeting and look at each one of these positions and kind of hear us talk about it. But you can also shoot us an email. So if you have a question about our position or like what we do, like different skills or things that you think would be good at it or whatever, just shoot us an email at one of these. Any one of the officers would be happy, I'm sure, to answer any questions. But so any questions on the elections or like how the election is going to work, different stuff like that? All right, hearing none, so we'll just keep going. The next thing I wanted to let everyone know is that the CNR Student Success Center is all virtual now. So we're all online. So all the peer advisors or peer mentors have online office hours that are Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5. And then on Friday, we actually close at 3. But we can be on, and you can go to the link above and that'll pop you right into 2 peer advisors ready to help you out with any of your questions. So you don't really have to make an appointment either. You can just come whenever. So, and we can help you with all sorts of fun stuff like course conflicts, just picking your classes, resumes, cover letters, finding a job if you're still looking, for your grad plans, all that stuff. So definitely stop on by into the office if you have any questions about that, or if you have some free time and want to just say hi too, that's totally cool too. But yeah, so just wanted to throw it out there as a resource for you guys that we're still here and available to answer questions and things. And then Sean, I believe.
Yeah, so this is the same as last meeting. Still looking for those 9 projects to get back to me. For funds, I'm gonna start moving funds and using them this weekend. So if I don't have your project sheet, you just won't use your money. I'll use it for someone else. So if you know the co-leaders or are the co-leaders and have questions, reach out to me. My email will be in the minutes, or you can ask questions now. But I'm going to start that process. So the sooner I have your sheets, the sooner I can get going with all this.
Cool. Thanks, Sean. Miranda?
Hi, everyone. Thank you to everyone who made a submission for the quarantine corner this week. And I know that I have some stuff sitting in my inbox right now from wildlifers who sent me stuff, which I'm super excited for this week's meeting minutes. Please continue to send me your wonderful stories and pictures. And if for some reason, I'm sorry, my birds are being super loud in the back. If for some reason you don't know my email, you can message me right here on this and I'll email it to you so that you have it. So it's super easy for you to send me good stories about your quarantine time.
Cool. Thanks, Miranda. And Rachel, I believe.
Hey everybody, so the National Wildlife Society conference is calling for abstracts. So if you want to present there, you need to get your abstract submitted by April 17th. Nationals is awesome. It's a really great place to present your research. Rough Grouse Project representing in this photo. Unfortunately, the rough grouse lost. So vote for the wood duck today. Get my 2 cents in there. And then nationals are September, so it's next year, obviously, or later this year. It's September 27th through October 1st. It's in Kentucky. So if you want to go and you want to present your research, make sure to get your abstracts in. I sent everybody out an email for the link. So get those in. Presenting's fun.
Sweet. Thanks, Rachel. Mandy?
Okay, so we're having family game nights. You guys are the family. I've got games prepared. I found like Uno and Werewolf and categories, all these different games that we can play virtually. So I'm hoping you guys are bored or something next Thursday night. We're gonna start around 6, and I'll send out a Zoom link in the meeting minutes, and we're just gonna play board games and card games together. So yeah, for fun. I don't know. There's not much else to say. It's gonna be a good time. So come if you like games or if you just want to hang out.
Sweet. Thanks, Mandy. Brylan? Is Brylan on?
Yep. So we're still doing the wildlife showdown. On the slide is the updated bracket through the last round. Today is the last matchup of the 3rd round. So it's wood duck versus redtail. Okay. So you can vote on Facebook and Instagram by liking photos and voting on our stories, and the animal with the most likes after 24 hours will move on. So you can go to the next slide.
All right. Oh.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
What happened? Guys, vote for the red-tailed hawk. They're super cool. They're super cute. Look at all those awesome pictures. My birds think you should vote for them. They like to snack on things and they like to hunt, which we do too. Look at all these cool red-tailed shots I put behind me. Look, there's me with the red tail. Vote red tail. Okay, I'm out.
Thank you, Miranda.
So if you wanted to vote redtail or wood duck, you can go to Facebook and Instagram and check those out. And you can also add us on Snapchat to stay updated on projects and meeting announcements and our Fauna Friday photos. And if you wanted to send any Fauna Friday photos, you can email me or submit them on the Google form. And I'm sure you guys are seeing really cool photos, cool animals, so make sure you take some photos. And then we have the member of the month, and March's member of the month. Right now I would ask for a drum roll, but it is Nora. So clapping.
Yeah.
So Nora is a senior who has been a very dedicated member all throughout her years at Stevens Point. She is the co-leader for the Woodpecker Project and also a Boone and Crockett Fellow, and has presented research on her Sandhill Crane project in the Horicon Marsh. This research is what she presented at the Wildlife Society meeting for Wisconsin and received the best oral presentation by an undergrad. This past month, she also wrapped up her 4th woodpecker project season at the Sandhill Wildlife Area. So congrats, Nora. You guys can send out clapping throughout the participants. You can send some claps there. And if you know anybody who would fit these requirements for member of the month, you can submit them, and these nominations for April are due the 25th.
So then lastly, just wanted to give another shout out to join us on Spin. So that's where you get on our email list, and that's where a lot of this information is going to be coming out on. So that's how you get the link to these and stuff. So if you're not on our Spin page already, make sure to join it. They also send out jobs emails through there too. So if you need any help with that, Lizzie or I can help you. And then next up, we have our faculty fireside chat.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate that. Yeah, so just wanted to have a chance to touch base with some of you that I don't have in class right now. And we had talked about this idea of just having like faculty share some kind of reading or snippet or something that's been like meaningful to us over the years. So I have a couple of pages out of the Sand County Almanac that I wanted to share with folks that had been particularly meaningful to me over the years. And just to confirm that this is where you wanted me to do the reading, right, Joe? Not later?
Yep, you're good. Yep.
All right. All right. So this is a passage where Leopold is kind of wrestling with the idea of predator management. And so said, my own conviction on this score dates from the day I saw a wolf die. We were eating lunch on a high rim rock at the foot of which a turbulent river elbowed its way. We saw what we thought was a doe fording the torrent, her breast awash in white water. When she climbed the bank toward us and shook out her tail, we realized our error. It was a wolf. A half dozen others, evidently grown pups, sprang from the willows and all joined in a welcoming melee of wagging tails and playful maulings. What was literally a pile of wolves writhed and tumbled in the center of an open flat at the foot of our rim rock. In those days, we had never heard of passing up a chance to kill a wolf. In a second, we were pumping lead into the pack, but with more excitement than accuracy. How to aim a steep downhill shot is always confusing. When our rifles were empty, the old wolf was down, and a pup was dragging a leg into impassable slide rocks. We reached the old wolf in time to watch a fierce green fire dying in her eyes. I realized then, and have known ever since, that there was something new to me in those eyes, something known only to her and to the mountain. I was young then, and full of trigger itch. I thought that because fewer wolves meant more deer, that no wolves would mean hunter's paradise. But after seeing the green fire die, I sensed that neither the wolf nor the mountain agreed with such a view. Since then, I have lived to see state after state extirpate its wolves. I have watched the face of many a newly wolfless mountain and seen the south-facing slopes wrinkle with a maze of new deer trails. I've seen every edible bush and seedling browsed, first to anemic destitute and then to death. I've seen every edible tree defoliated to the height of a saddle horn. Such a mountain looks as if someone had given God a new pruning shears and forbidden him all other exercise. In the end, the starved bones of the hoped-for deer herd, dead of its own too much, bleach with the bones of dead sage, or molder under the high-lying junipers. I suspect that just as a deer herd lives in mortal fear of its wolves, so does a mountain live in mortal fear of its deer, and perhaps with better cause. For while a buck pulled down by wolves can be replaced in 2 or 3 years, a range pulled down by too many deer may fail of replacement in as many decades. So that was a reading that always stood out to me, and Leopold's work about the interconnectedness of things, kind of the unintended consequences of tinkering with one cog in nature and not appreciating how it'll affect the others. And I don't know, the message on connectedness kind of spoke to me during this time when we're all kind of physically separated from each other, but looking for ways to connect, through Zoom meetings and classes and advising and any other outlet that we can tie into a human being in. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you all tonight.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Dr. Riddle. All right, so this week we actually have our very first guest speaker virtually. So Sarah Fisher is here from the Wisconsin DNR, and she is actually our COD biologist for Central Wisconsin. So Sarah, are you out there?
Yeah, but I'm here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I do not have a webcam, so you will not be able to see me, but as long as you can hear me, that'll be fine. I'll be able to share my screen then too.
Okay, yeah, let me stop sharing, and then I have to make you a host real quick. All right, so you should be a co-host, so you should be able to share your screen now.
Okay, hopefully we can, oh boy. We'll share this. All right, let me know what you guys
Perfect.
can see here. Let me see if I can get that. Can you see the presented, like the pretty version, not my outline version?
No, we can see the notes and everything.
Okay, let's just, maybe I have to, I've recently got dual monitors, so I'm still trying to figure that out too.
No worries, no worries. This is a time for all technical difficulties. So
It will, you can still see the notes one?
yeah.
Shoot. Okay, well.
Yeah, maybe if you, I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
I gotta see.
Sorry.
New share, screen 2. How about now?
Perfect. Yes. So you all
Okay.
now.
Perfect. Let me see if I can put it back so I can get my notes on. Can you see?
Nope, we can't see your notes anymore.
Sweet. Okay, good. Now that we got the technical difficulties figured out here.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Like Joe said, I'm the CWD biologist for the Wisconsin Rapids area for the DNR. There's actually 3 of us for our whole West Central district. So we all kind of work together to cover all of our counties. And so today we're going to talk about CWD and where we are with it in the state and what we're doing about it and what you guys can do to get involved. So we'll go over what CWD is, where CWD is in Wisconsin, what we're doing, and that. So I'm going to briefly go over CWD because I'm pretty sure all of you guys are well versed in what CWD is. It's an infectious prion in the cervid family, so deer, moose, elk. It's similar to scabies in sheep or mad cow disease. Some of the symptoms is extreme weight loss, abnormal behavior. We've had reports of them walking in circles and looking very confused, drooling a lot. We had a deer that was harvested this year in November that had dropped its antlers already, and that deer came back positive. So that's another symptom, is they lose antlers early. It's a fatal nervous system disease, and it can be up to 2 years before they even begin to show symptoms. So your deer can look absolutely healthy, but still be infected. In Wisconsin, it's pretty widespread. There are 56 of our 72 counties which are affected. And what that means is there are, sorry, my voice is a little cracky. The 56 counties, they are either have CWD present in the county, or they are within 10 miles of a known positive. And then that issues baiting bans and feeding bans if they're within 10 miles of a known positive in the wild. So in 2001 was when we first found positives in our state, and there were 3 of them that were found on the border of Dane and Iowa counties. There were 3 2.5-year-old bucks, and they were harvested within 3 miles of each other. And only one of the 3 had clinical signs. So only one of them had the typical super skinny, looking sickly signs. And I was just told that during the early 2000s like this, we had a person who was doing some sampling for us, not anything widespread, and she was the one that sampled these deer. She was supposed to go up to the north and sample, but there was a big snowstorm that stopped her from going up there, and so instead she decided to sample in Madison, and that's when she found these deer. And so if she would have been up in the north, who knows when we would have actually found these deer. So that's interesting, and happy and glad that she found these when she did. Otherwise, it could have been several years before we actually found it. So this is just a map of where those 3 were located. And so out of the almost 1,100 samples that were done in 2001, only 3 came back positive, and that's the very first time that we had recorded positive samples in Wisconsin. So moving on from 2002 to 2008, or 2018, that's my most up-to-date maps in this form. This is what we're looking at now, and there's even still some more in the north as well, in Oneida and Lincoln counties. So as you can see, it has pretty much exploded in the southwestern counties here. You can barely even see where Iowa County is. And so in 2018, they had sampled 17,306 deer, and there was over 1,000 positives that came back out of there. And so this next graph just shows our sampling efforts over the past 16 years. And so in 2002, we sampled really, really hard because that's when the year after we had found those first positives. So we tried to sample as hard as we could to figure out how widespread this was. And then we kind of backed off a little bit, came back up, and then it was pretty low until about 2018, which that kind of spiked a little bit because of the northern district, that's when they found the Lincoln County and Oneida positives. So they sampled a little bit harder then. And so now into 2019, this is an updated map of all of our affected counties. So you can kind of see they're all over the place. And so 39 of our counties have positive wild CWD samples. And so again, the 56 total is everyone that could be affected in any way. So I don't know if you can see my mouse at all, but you can see up here in Portage County, those black dots are positive samples. And then Wood County here is that dark shade. And that means that Wood County is a watch county because these samples in Portage County are within 10 miles of the border of Wood County. So then Wood County would be affected because of these samples in Portage County. So that's kind of what those watch counties are. But as you can see, we've got our positives up in Oneida and Lincoln County. We had some up in Washburn. And then we have some of these stars. Those are hunting ranches with CWD. And same thing with the yellow stars and the red circles as well. Those are deer farms or hunting ranches that have or currently have CWD. So this year, 3 new counties popped up with new positives. And so one of those was Sheboygan County down here. One of them was Marathon County and the other one was Dunn County. And so total in 2019 for sampling, we had 19,385 samples. And then out of those, we had 1,334 wild positives. And obviously Dane and Iowa County, they sample very hard down here. So they had the most positives because that's where it's mostly found. And then Sauk and Richland counties are starting to get pretty close behind Dane and Iowa County. So just the prevalence that has changed from 2002 to 2018. And this is for southern Wisconsin, mainly because we have the most data from down there. Prevalence in adult male deer has risen from 8 to 10% to over 35%. And prevalence in yearling males increased from 2 to 13%. Adult females went from 3 to 4% to over 15%. And yearling females increased from 2 to 10%. So as it spreads, we're getting more prevalence, which is kind of what happens with that. So strategies for 2020, our goal is to minimize the disease range and prevalence. And to do that, we're trying to contain it and slow it down. To do that, we're using baiting and feeding bans, regulations on field dressing, carcass movement regulations, and dumpsters. And this article that is up on the screen right now is one of our documents that kind of outlays all of our recommendations. We are also doing surveillance, monitoring, and sampling. And for sampling, we're using kiosks and cooperators. And I'll go into that in a little bit here. We're also using the hunting seasons to get most of those samples. And then we're also doing some research. A lot of it is being done through Stevens Point or with Stevens Point at the almond farm. And then we have our big study down in Madison, the Southwest Wisconsin CWD deer and predator study. So for 2019, this was the 3rd year of doing these carcass dumpsters. And so what they are is it's a dumpster where you can put your deer waste when you're done with it after you harvest a deer. And the whole goal of it is to try to keep deer waste off the landscape. So those people that bring deer from other counties and then go dump them in farm fields or dump them in ditches, we're trying to mitigate that. So we have a adopted dumpster program. And what it is there's groups or members of the public or companies, they can adopt this dumpster, and they would pay for the dumpster, and then the public can come in and dump their waste there, and then they would get advertisement for their business. And we also offer cost sharing with that. So this year, the state reimbursed up to 50% of the cost of the dumpster. So then it was a partnership, so it wasn't just solely on the person who adopted it to financially back that dumpster. And so this map right here, it shows all of our disposal options for the hunting season. So the blue dots are our adopted dumpsters throughout the state. The yellow ones were adopted that also did the cost share. The green ones were department hosted. So this green one down here in Portage County, right there, was at the Plover Transfer Station. And that was one that was hosted by my office. And that's what all the other green dots are as well, with different offices throughout the state. The purple ones are dumpsters that were provided by companies that did not want to do the cost share. They just wanted to provide their own dumpsters for their community. And then the red dots are landfills or transfer stations that also accepted deer waste. And so for sampling options in 2019, we had all of these locations, which is great. So the bright green dots are sampling kiosks. So those are the ones that the Wildlife Society with you guys, that you guys built. It's so sampling stations like that. And same thing with the red is the adopt a kiosk one. So you can adopt the kiosk just like you can adopt the dumpster. So the Wildlife Society actually did adopt a kiosk, and they kept track of it for me. They built it, and they let me know when there was stuff in it so that I could go and pick it up, and that's what those red dots are. And then the blue dots are our other sampling stations, which are meat processors and taxidermists and rod and gun clubs, or just people that are wanting to help sample. Those are those. And so this now is really relevant because of what happened with Marathon County. So what do we do when there's a new positive? So first, when the sample comes down to Black Earth, which is where our processing center is, it goes to WVDL, which is where the tests are actually run. And it's done with an ELISA. And so if the ELISA test comes back positive, they run it again with a IHC or the immunohistochemistry test to confirm that there's actually prions. And so that test looks for those specific proteins on the cells. And so if that comes back positive, then we notify the public that there has been a new positive found in that county. And so this article here is what we sent out in a news release so that the public was notified. And so we will hold a public meeting and let the members of the public come in, our CDAC members come in, and we discuss what goes on and where we're going from here. And so with that meeting, the public is able to comment, and the CDAC members also put their input in, and then we consider everybody's feedback and go from there. And so with Marathon County, we set up surveillance areas with 2 miles, 5 miles, and 10 miles around where that positive was found. And so we issued surveillance permits to landowners who are willing to participate, and they have to have 5 or more continuous acres. And so it depends on how many acres they have. So if they had 5 acres, they were issued 1 authorization. If they had 200 acres, they were issued 5 authorizations so that they could take 5 deer off of just their property. And we were looking for properties within that 2 or 5 mile zone. And the point of that is to sample really hard within those 2 to 5 miles to determine if it was just one occurrence or if it's more widespread and we've just been missing it. And then if more positives are found, we start looking into other options outlined in our CWD response guideline. So what can you guys do, especially now that we're all stuck at home? You guys can follow recommendations and restrictions involving CWD, and you can help others understand and follow those recommendations. So if you have someone that you hunt with and they want to go dump their deer in the ditch because that's what they've always done, you can say, hey, no, we've got these awesome deer disposal dumpsters where we can dispose of it safely in there so we don't continue to potentially spread CWD around to areas that don't have it. And you can get your deer sampled, because the more data we have, the better. And even those that come back negative, that's good for us because we know it's not there yet. You guys can volunteer and get involved. And I know some of you guys with TWS, you guys came to the sampling workshop that I held last year, and that was really, really great. And we're hoping to do that again this year. And then student clubs and individuals can adopt kiosks and dumpsters, and TWS adopted their kiosk last year. So we're hoping to continue that. And then, so I had to plug this in because this is your guys' kiosk here. So this is the one that TWS built this past season. BHA also was involved with this as well. And so these are some of the pictures that we took and that Joe took while you guys were putting it together and when we dropped it off at Frank's Hardware. And then this is some pictures from the lymph node workshop that we did. And so, like I said, we're hoping to do that again next year because I thought that was really helpful. And it's good for you guys too, to be able to know how to do this and know how to age deer out in the field like this, because this is exactly what we do in the field. And so it's good experience for you guys, because if you end up getting a job with Wisconsin DNR, at some point, you're most likely going to have to be doing this in some capacity. And just another option to get involved with your local deer management is go to your county deer advisory councils meetings. As of right now, they are all online. We're doing a phone conference pretty much like this, just not on this platform. They are members of the public that have formed committees to get a better idea of what the public wants for their deer herds. So they gather public input, and then they work directly with your county biologists to make recommendations on quotas, on population goals, herd management strategies. They vote on what kind of hunts you'll have. If you have extended bow seasons or holiday hunts, they make all those decisions. So if you want to be more involved in how your county handles its deer herds, you can go to these virtual meetings, and when we're allowed to be in groups again, you can actually go to these meetings and give your public input. And I wanted to show you guys how to get to this website from our homepage. So we're going to see if this works, if I can get you guys to see this. Can you see that, the DNR homepage?
Yeah, we could it just
Oh,
went
just
away.
before?
Yeah.
Now?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So this is our DNR homepage. And so if you search CDAC, it should bring you to this page. And so here you can, right now, because everything is online, all of the county biologists have put together presentations of their recommendations and their, from last year's hunt data, they've come up with this presentation for next year. So you can watch their presentations right here on this tab. And there's just information about this. You can also, you can search find, and then you can go to your county. So if we go to Portage County, you'll hit Portage, and then you can find who is on your CDAC committee and which seat they hold. And you can use their email to get a hold of them if you have got questions. And also right down here is the phone number to call into those meetings. And so you call in here, and then you'll be asked for a passcode, and then you'll type that in and you'll be linked to the meeting. And right now the public is being muted on these calls because it would be absolutely impossible to try to understand who is talking, and especially if there's multiple people talking at the same time. So the only people that are able to talk in these meetings currently are the CDAC Council and the DNR representatives. But there is a chance for the public to give their comments on April 16th through the 28th, and that is online as well. So they'll be able to comment on these meetings before any decisions are made. So that's how we're still allowing the public to give us their feedback without trying to make these meetings a nightmare. But okay. But that's how you find that. And they're really interesting. I am actually a moderator for these meetings. That's how things are being run. So I handle all the calls coming in. Okay, so then there we go. And with that, does anybody have any questions for me? And you might be able to type them into the chat function too. I might have to bring you guys back up here.
So I think there is a question in the chat for you.
Okay, I see. The question is, why can we only test lymph nodes for CWD and not the bodily fluid? And the easiest answer to that is that there is not enough prions in the bodily fluid for the test to come back positive. So the prions, they congregate in the lymph nodes and in the spinal column. And so we test the lymph nodes because that's where the highest concentration of prions is. And so the bodily fluid, there's just not enough of it in there to test it. And so unfortunately, that's why all of the deer that we test have to be dead. Does anyone else have any questions?
All right, well.
Oh, there's
maybe...
one more.
Oh.
Do you want me to, it's privately to me, do you want me to still go over it to everybody?
I'd say up to the person.
Okay, she said yes. Okay, the question is, can you quickly go over how you moved into your job position? Did you have any other jobs between college and your current job? And so when I actually graduated from Point in 2018. And from there, I got a job at Sandhill Wildlife Area as a LTE wildlife technician. And I was in that position for almost a year. And then this position opened up. And so I had actually applied for this one in May of last year and didn't get it. And I was told I was the second place person, which is never what you want to hear for a job. But the person that got it before me, he actually ended up leaving for a job with the feds. And so they called me and said, we really liked you. Do you want this position? And obviously I said yes. So I kind of got thrown into it right before deer season started. So it was kind of trial by fire. But yeah, so I only had those two positions, but I also had interned with the DNR in 2017 over the summer up in Rhinelander. And I think that really kind of helped get me into this position because I was pretty green going into my wildlife technician position at Sandhill. And so they helped me learn a lot there. And so that helped me get this next one. And so this position is a dual role. So for 6 months, I'm CWD, and then the other 6 months, I'm wildlife technician. So I get to kind of switch it up, which is nice to have a break from one or the other. Okay, we have another question too, and it says, is there a reliable live test for elk? Has it been used successfully for white-tailed deer? Or there is a reliable test. As far as I know, it has not really been tested with white-tailed deer, not in any capacity that I am aware of. And I think it would be hard to mass sample white-tailed deer because we would have to trap them, I suppose, to sample each deer. But yeah, so not that I'm aware of that it's been successfully used for whitetails. All right, so we got another question. It says, what do we do if we want to get our buck tested, but we don't want to leave it at a kiosk because we want to get it mounted? That is a great question. So we are cooperating with several taxidermists in each county. And so on our website, if you search CWD, you can get to where you can sample your deer. And so you can find the list of taxidermists that will do CWD sampling for you, and that will also mount your deer. Now, if you want your deer mounted and you have a taxidermist that you really love and they don't do CWD sampling, you can always call your local, either your CWD biologist, me, or your local biologist for your county, and they can meet up with you to sample your deer for you without ruining your mount. Okay.
So is there any more questions out there for anyone? Sarah, do you think you could hang around a little bit after for like a couple minutes? Maybe some people want to come up and talk to you just one-on-one in the chat or in the Zoom meeting after.
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yep, that's fine.
All right, cool. So yeah, so if you want to come up and talk to Sarah via Zoom, definitely just stay on this meeting for a little bit, and then otherwise, if you have to go somewhere or anything like that, feel free to just log off. It was great to see you all again, and thanks for coming for round 2 of virtual TWS meetings. I think this went really well. So, and let's all give Sarah also, I guess, a big round of virtual applause for. I'll just clap really loudly into my speaker, I guess. But thank you so much, Sarah, for coming. We really appreciate you having here, and your presentation was super informative. So I think it went great.
Thank you.
But yeah, so I'll see you all next week. Next week we don't quite know what we're going to do yet, but we might have a speaker, but we also might do a fun little activity as a group. So with that, I'll see you all next week. And like I said, if you want to stick around and talk to Sarah, she can hang around for a couple minutes too. So have a great night, everyone.
Vote red tail.
Jeepers.
Do it, y'all.
You sold it, that's for sure. Come on.
Thanks. I really tried. This took like 10 minutes. I had to go like collect all my red tail things. All right.
Good.
Goodbye, everyone.
Hey, Miranda. Have a good week.
You too.
Yeah, Sarah. Well, I thought your presentation was really good. Thanks for coming and doing this. I know it's not always the easiest doing these meetings. But,
Yeah, no problem. I know these whole virtual meetings are starting to be the norm now.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. That was a nice talk.
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, I definitely didn't even know, like I'm not from Wisconsin, so I never knew the history of like all the way back to 2001. So that was really cool to learn about.
Yeah, kind of, it's really interesting and to see how quickly it kind of exploded in the Southwest.
Hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, we're excited to be year 2 in the adopt kiosk. So I'm sure the next president will get on board with you.
Yes, that would be great because I was really, really happy that we could have this partnership with the kiosk and everything. And
Hmm. All right, we'll see you, Dr. Riddle. Thanks for stopping by.
You bet. See y'all. Have a good one.
Yes.
bye.
All right. Well, it looks like no one stuck around for you, Sarah. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, thanks again. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad you wanted to do this. Do it
Yeah,
virtually. We've had some people drop out, which is fine, but it's good to
yeah,
have someone.
yeah. I know it can get kind of hard and kind of busy, and today was super busy for me actually because I got put on PPE distribution.
Oh,
So I've been running all over like Marathon County and Langlade County,
geez.
dealing with distributing PPE to the surrounding counties.
Oh,
So
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so that's what I was doing this morning and this afternoon. And so I rushed back to be able to get on the call. And
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, no, it's totally fine. I was like, I need to be out of here by this time so that I can be on this call.
Yeah,
So
no, it was absolutely awesome. I really enjoyed it. So thanks again. I really appreciate it. I know I've said that a lot now, but
that's okay. Thank you. Thanks for letting me come on here.
no, yeah, it was awesome. Well, I'm gonna hop off or end the meeting, but
Okay.
I hope you have a good rest of the I guess I was gonna say school year, but rest of the quarantine season, I guess I can say. So,
Right.
but
Yeah.
hopefully see you down the road eventually.
Yep.
But,
Yep.
all
Hopefully.
right, bye.
All right. See ya.